Hi, Miranda from Pliable. Lovely to see you again. I wanted to share with you the logical journey that we go on, the steps that we go on, the actual changes, solutions that we have to get us from, where we are to permanent weight loss, breaking free from emotional eating, loving ourselves, loving our body, and loving our life. And these are the steps I've been on in my journey. These are the steps my clients go on in their journey to get to that freedom that we're after. And the first one is actually around our relationship with ourselves. We need to actually stop and look at the patterns that have been going on in our thoughts about ourselves, the way that we feel about ourselves, how loud our inner critic has been, and this identity we've attached to ourselves as being a failure, and all these things that actually then cause us to emotionally eat, to stop eating healthily, to not have motivation around our exercise, and are getting at the results that we have right now. And so we actually start exposing that and learning, how do we have self-compassion? How do we become our own best friend? How do we nurture ourselves and love ourselves like we love our child, like we love our partner, like we love the person that is dearest and clearest for us most, our best friend? And so this is a really crucial foundational step that we need, that will carry us through for the rest of the steps as well. It needs to be sort of cemented in self-compassion and love. And we look at all of the resistance and the issues around that as well, and why we don't do it, and why we like being an inner critic sometimes, and how to change that. The second step involves facing our pain and really learning about the deep motivations that really create lasting motivation for us. Now, we are very motivated to avoid pain, and we're very motivated to run to and pursue and gain pleasure. And so when we access and understand, how do we get to our psychology and not run away from the pain to emotional eating and numbing, but actually facing our pain, facing our problems, facing all of the issues that are in right now that we don't want to have. When we can do that, and we actually look at, what vision do we have for our life? What values do we want to have for our life? What do we want our life to be? Who do we want to be? What is our best selves? And we actually start playing on these ideas of pain and pleasure, and we know how to access that in our brain, then that is a really crucial step to creating the lasting motivation for real change and lasting change once and for all. Not this motivation that fluctuates, and the change that fluctuates depending on the weather, depending on what we're wearing or what's going on outside of us. Now, the third step is working through a healthy lifestyle. Now, you again, and all of us often know so much around eating, so much around exercise, all these other things, but what is really important is looking at, what are our extreme rules? What are perhaps old dieting behaviors and habits and things that have been in my thinking that have actually created this extreme behaviors that we've done, this out of balance, overindulging, overeating, or being really restrictive and focused in dieting? And how do we actually maintain balance? How do we have mindfulness and be intuitive, like when we were very young and we used to have no issues with food, going back to eating in that same way? We're in tune with our body, we know what it needs, we know what it's good for. We have really set beautiful guidelines that help us be clear and healthy and have a lifestyle we can have forever, and not something that's a diet that only lasts for a little time. So we go on to that step as well. Then we go on to step 4. And that is working through our core beliefs. Now, I've shared with you in some of the other videos how important our beliefs are, but a lot of the time we have no idea what the core beliefs we have are around ourselves, around our bodies, around our future, around what we want to have in our life or not, around God, the universe, the world, whatever. These core beliefs we have actually dictate everything we do. So for instance, if we believe we're never going to get what we want, there's something wrong with us, we're not successful, we're a failure, and we're never going to get what we want, then that is going to come out, and we're going to sabotage things over and over again, not just in our weight and our eating, but with our work and in relationships. If we think we're unlovable and we're never good enough, then we're not going to ever feel beautiful and good enough, and we're going to eat to hide from people, or we're going to sabotage a relationship we're in because we think we're not good enough and lovable for them, so we just end up stuffing it and causing problems there to just prove that belief is true for us. And so this is a major game changer when we actually look at where the core beliefs come from, What are they about? Where are they blocking us? And how can we challenge them, change them, and create new core beliefs for us? So then they facilitate fantastic feelings, actions, and results for us. And lastly, the fifth step is we look at core needs. And our core needs are looking at how do we deal with our emotions? How do we deal with the emotional needs we have for certain things that actually are driving our hungers for food? If we have an emotional hunger, we're not actually physically hungry. A lot of the time there's an emotional need there that we're not meeting, and so we go to food to meet it. But it doesn't matter what we eat, it will never meet that need. So once we actually understand the emotional needs, there's 6 of them, we can learn on how to deal with those and how to deal with stress, for instance, which is also a precursor often to emotional eating. And so we look at emotions, core needs, and stress in that module and work out how we face those, deal with them, so then they are no longer driving emotional eating and weight issues as well. So that is a little bit about the journey that we would go on in piecing the puzzle together and working forwards in getting you free from all of these issues once and for all.